what would your advice be to someone who is interested in skills-based? They know there's proliferation. Maybe they've been on webinars and read reports. Where should a, let's say a hiring manager or a contingent workforce program manager start?
Yeah, I would say start small. I'd love to say big bang, but there's a lot of change management involved.
Yeah,
So you've
yeah,
got to go and get your use cases and your success stories. And I think that in some ways, the individual leader of that function is more important than the function itself. Now, there are some functions you could say like marketing, because marketing are a bit more creative and fluid about, they've been using freelancers for a long time. So they're sort of more used to that holistic view of different types of talent that are getting this work done. But more importantly is the individual, the leader that's leading that function, that wants to make a difference, is passionate about this, and you can get on board to try things new, try something new. So that's number one, find the right individual. The next is to really understand what are those, take all the job specs in your system and look at them and say, are they really fit for today's world? And if I moved from competency-based interviewing to measuring and interviewing on a success profile, what differences would that make? How do I start changing the questions that I ask inside an interview so I'm really measuring success profile, not purely based on experience? And then the third piece would be, is there an assessment tool out there, or could we create some form of assessment that is making sure that my managers are measuring against skills and, not falling back into, well, they remind me of when I was that age, so they must be good.
Yeah. We want to get rid of that, get more evidence-based decisions.
Yeah, but and we produce a ton of stuff on this, so and we are very open with all of that. So if anyone wants to reach out or just check out, Leaders Global Solutions, go through our blogs and stuff, you'll find a number of very practical guides in there of how those interviews look different. Because this isn't about replacing necessarily, it's about an addition to.
I love that. It's an and rather than an or.
Yeah.
I think, which is, we need to hear more of that in this age of AI
and I think
jobs.
And then the last piece I'd say is inside that function, taking it beyond just skills based, but really thinking about, are we getting work done in the best possible way? Those are individuals that we've got working for us. Are they really doing what we're paying them to do, what it says in the job spec? And, I'll give you an example of that quickly. In our very large healthcare company we work with, they had a massive challenge hiring nurses. Shocker, right? The world has a shortage of nurses, and they were impacted by that. Massive shortage. So they said, okay, how do we go and hire more and more and more? I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Let's look internally first. Let's make sure that those nurses that you've got who are nurses are actually working what's called in the top of license. What that means is those nurses are doing things that only somebody with a nursing license could do, and working at the top of my license. So we did a good old-fashioned time and motion study in a very, very large state with a lot of nurses. The average amount of time a nurse was actually nursing top of license, 30%. So that means you need 3 times more people than you did. If you could get them to 100% nurse, which you can't really get to 100%, but you can definitely get to 60.
Sure.
So now you're saying, okay, so our challenge isn't we need more nurses, we need to redesign the jobs. That's what we started with. And how do we take that work off them that isn't nursing and put it elsewhere? Now, and the impact on that within 6 months, the impact on retention was incredible. Because people, wow, great, this is why I went to college, I wanted to nurse. Now you've got me doing this other stuff.
What was some of the other stuff that went to somebody else, if you can share?
The classic part of it was the meet and greet.
Oh yeah.
All of that stuff. You don't need to be a nurse to do that. Taking somebody's temperature, you don't need to be a nurse to do that. Scheduling was a massive one.
Sure.
And now, of course, we can automate the heck out of that. So,
okay,
you don't want them doing that. But yeah. So things like that, I think starting within, I think for companies within their own function, or pick a leader of a function, say, let's just lift the hood and see where we're actually getting work done.